Won't he do it? Yes, he will. What's going on, everybody? Let's jump right into part 2. We're breaking down tonight what gives you back your energy and protects you from trauma bonding and this dopamine dumping from all of the distractions that causes inaction. Tonight is Thursday, September the 29th of 2022. The time is at 8:15. We're going to do an early show tonight. I know sort of the later show usually do a little bit later, because really we're just kind of going over and giving you the tools to take your power back. So we mentioned earlier where I talked about how I gather crystal clear clarity of my desired end. I vocalize it and I visualize it. I write it down. I recheck it to make sure that's it. And then I just focus 100% of my time and my energy on it, because that's my payoff. My payoff isn't the destination. I've retrained my brain to attach to my name. When you are able to retrain the brain to get dopamine from the name, it's downhill. It's interesting when we go through this process of retraining your brain. And you're retraining your brain to attach to the elements, to the frequencies of the name. So retraining your brain to attach to your name is one of the best ways by which to eliminate all of the toxic shame and all of the emotional drain, all the trauma bonding, all the drama. Things happen, but I can get back on track because I got something that's bigger than me. So I pray in my name instead of in Jesus' name. Now, there's nothing wrong with praying in Jesus' name to empower Jesus, to amplify Jesus, to give Jesus your productivity, to give Jesus your awareness, to give Jesus your amplification. But that leaves you drained. I remember after the end of church services and worship services, I would go home and I'd be drained. I'd be soaking wet. I'd be tired, like I worked out, because I gave all my chi, all my prana, all my pneuma to Jesus. But did Jesus really need it? Depending on who you talk to. If you talk to the traditional Reverend Dr. Bishop, yeah, they'll tell you Jesus needs your worship. I'm here to tell you, you got calm, bro. Because Jesus came, he's gone. He said, I'm out. I left you with the Fuwak and the Pneuma. So he left us with something to assist us, because he said, the thing that I have done, you shall do. So we're supposed to be doing what Jesus did. And how did Jesus do it? He kept his chi. In fact, he got more chi because he united his chi with Source, the Father's chi. He was in constant installation with his constellation. And so this constant installation with your constellation, that, my brothers and sisters, is spiritual awareness. That's what we're going to be talking about on the class that starts on October the 3rd, by talking about how you are to use. If you do, the science is crazy. 1 hour a day. That's pretty much all I do. I pretty much work 1 hour a day. If you post the same content, you keep doing, like I keep encouraging Sister Cheryl West. So if Sister Cheryl keep doing this creative, executive freedom, using her intellect and her communication for 90 days, really, because I over-exaggerate, because it's 21 days to establish a new habit, another 21 days to turn that new habit into a lifestyle, another 21 days to turn that lifestyle into your new destiny. But you got to be consistent. If you miss one day, you start back with the 21 days. So this is why, like Sundays, you go on vacation, shit happens. Even you got to keep, it's not about the content. It's about you being true to you. When you honor yourself, you honor your cells. And so your cells produce more chi. They produce more energy. And so that's how I'm able to go all day, every day, because I honor myself by honoring my cells. So each one of my cells, they are magnified because I'm interacting or creating an intersection where I'm giving energy to this internal revelation instead of this external demonstration. So if you're sharing your energy externally instead of sharing your energy internally, then you're bonding externally with something other than what we call your name. So man is name and name is man. And your ability to bond with your cells, that's yourself. And that's almost impossible. When I say almost impossible, it means that it's hard for us to love ourselves from the perspective of, okay, do I see my own worth and my own worth and my own value? When I say see my own worth and my own value, you and I, we're atoms inside of the body or inside of the mind of Christ. And so if we are able to bond with Christ or with a higher mind or with ourself, instead of bonding with trauma and bonding with drama, this is how I broke the chains of bondage. Now, there's a lot of other different ways by which you can do this, but the way that I do everything is whenever I want to stop something, I start something. So I was able to break the psychological chains of slavery. I was able to break the chains of all of the trauma and all of the drama that I had been through by bonding. And you can't bond with other things. You have to choose one or pick one. The same way people with the same emotions and people with the same inner chi and people with the same energy or people with the same entity, they are able to bond together. So that's trauma bonding. So pretty much that's what everybody's done unknowingly. So you cannot bond, as the Bible says, it's better to be hot or cold. You know, you cannot serve two masters. You will love one and hate the other. And so everybody on this call, the way that you destroy your bond with the devil, we'll put it that way, is to establish a bond with God. But then the dominant culture knows that. That's why they gave us rely on. So I broke. Now this is my own personal Harvard and Yale and Princeton ain't coming out with no studies yet. So I'm giving you behind the scenes information. On October the 3rd, I'm going to talk about implementation. Remember, information is free. Implementation is not. I charge you to give you the step-by-step way to implement. So how do you break the chains of trauma bonding? How do you break the psychological chains of Willie Lynch? How do you break any addiction? How can you go, that's why I can go cold turkey. But I just stop eating sugar or I just stop doing any of my extreme diets or any of the extreme behaviors that my family members say like, man, we don't know how you do that. I'm addicted to that. So relationships the same way. That's good and it's bad. Because when I walked away from a 25-year marriage and I never looked back. And the reason that I was able to do that because I bonded. So if you retrain your brain to attach to your name, you will never experience toxic shame or any type of an emotional drain. Now, I cannot express the importance of this. The science, which I will get into a little bit when we talk about, because we're going to break down advertising, selling, and your product, which is another way of saying hook, add value, give me support. And that's just, another way of saying to sit through a session that moves you. That's another way of saying how to remove and detach any emotional addiction by creating what you speak. That's why every religion puts emphasis on the name. That's why the scripture talks about there's a name that we've been given that is above, every name. And that name should be your name. So you give your power or you bond based upon that name. What if you were to bond with your own name? Because you can't double bond. Because the spiritual meaning of letters, they're fetters, they're chains. So the letters are based on energy. They're based upon frequency, waves, vibration, sound, and the shape of the letter. In all of the metaphysical, esoteric schools, they break down the shape of the letter. So each letter is assigned a specific value. And that value then is reduced to a single digit number. This is termed in the ancient text root number, or root numbers. Now, when we get into, and we're going to break down my volunteers that I have for the night, and go through some names to give you the root causality of your reality. Now, once you understand the root number or the root name, then you can't experience shame. Because nobody can gaslight you, because you got the true spiritual esoteric meaning that reveals the spiritual properties that you are, I'm going to use the word, possessed with. And so it is this divine, mystical connection that crosses all religions, because one is the same no matter where you go. Two is the same. You can change language, but you can't change numbers. So the significance of the numbers and their effect on the root cause of all reality is the, I'm going to use the word, occult. Excuse me. Get some water. The occult meaning behind your reality. I mentioned before the guy that was mentioned, his name was Rudolf Steiner. And but he did a lot of work way back in the day of the cosmic world, spirit realm, and how it produces harmony in space when it's expressed correctly. That just simply means when you understand that for some reason or other, the source code assign meaning to each number, and then these numbers are expressed at the root through what we call letters. And each number has a sign that rules over it. Like, for example, the number 1 is ruled over by the sign, the energy of Mercury. And we can go through all of the numbers, but we don't want to spend or waste time, not that that's a waste of time, but we want to really talk about, how each person's name is expressed, that if you retrain your brain to attach to the name, then you cannot experience toxic shame or emotional drain. You stay amped up. So that simply means that you don't run out of energy because you're planning your name. That means that you got awareness, you got clarity. So source code has clarity of his name, so you got to have clarity of your name. Because man is name and name is man. So that's the spiritual, connotation, if you will, the esoteric meaning behind bonding. Because atoms that are bonded, they make a molecule. And then once you become what, in science is called a molecule, then that just simply means that you're sharing energy and information that establish emotions and energy. So when you bond with your name, you're bonding with the letters that were given to you that represents God. So God chose to represent her itself through these symbols. They're called emanations. We talked about this before. So the highest possible good for, again, as we mentioned earlier, Sister Cheryl West, is to be a creative executive. So every morning she wakes up, she got to come up with something very creative. And then she got to execute. That makes her feel free. That gives her more intelligence. So that way she's able to communicate and connect with other people. So as long as Sister Cheryl West does that, then she operates, like we all talk about all the time, on a level where there is no devil. So everybody has the same, I'm using the word, opportunity to do what? To be able to take the fetters and allow yourself, this is voluntarily, you have to voluntarily allow yourself to establish what is called metacognition. So when you operate in metacognition, there is this interconnection between the mathematical aspects of what you and I call energy. So you now understand that shape, structure creates function and production. So then advertising, selling, production. So your production, you don't get to choose it. It's already chosen. So Sister Cheryl West, her production is already chosen. So let's look at Sister Diane Coleman. So like Sister Cheryl West, we look at each letter individually of the first name, because you can change your last name. Nobody uses their middle name. Then you could also use names that you were called, nicknames. But the nickname doesn't work unless you hear it with your ears. Like my nickname, Will. I didn't legally change my name to Will. Will is not on my birth certificate. However, everybody calls me Will. My wife, when she's joking around with me, she'll call me Willie. But everybody calls me Will. So I was talking with Sister Cheryl and I think it's Dion, right, Sister Cheryl? Not Sister Cheryl, Sister Diane. That there was a nickname that was used quite often. So the danger with that, which is why I don't recommend it, unless you do what I did, you do it early in life and you never change it. So that way you're not creating cognitive dissonance in your own cells. So we know that the letter D is the number 4. That means stability. We know that the letter I is the number 9. That means what we call, humanity. There's other different meanings, but the primary meaning is, again, this highway of service. The brain thinks very sophisticatedly, but it thinks about service. Then we know that the letter A is the number 1. That simply means independent or leader. We know that the letter N in her name is the number 5. That means freedom. And then the letter E, that's also the number 5. And so we change another word. Another word for freedom is assertive. 5 is also means assertive. Then she has a nickname that she went by for years, and it was D-I-O-N. So again, D is number 4. Stability. I is the number 9. Humanity, sophistication, another word we could use, royalty. But the letter O is the number 6. That's where we get the word compassion. And then the N, as we mentioned before, is the number 5, where we got freedom. So if we take the shortest name, the nickname, so Sister Diane, just like everybody else, she's most important, she's a stabilizer. Because in both names, it both starts with the same letter, D. So everything about Sister Diane is about stability. So the opposite of that usually is where the enemy attacks you at. Like Sister Cheryl West, everything about her is creativity, because her first letter in her name is a C, which is number 3, creativity. So if I put Sister Cheryl, let's say, in a job where she's working in the call center, where there's no creativity. She has a script. She got to follow the exact words. She can't think outside of the box. Life's going to suck. So for Sister Diane, everything's about stability. And then the number 9, remember, is about humanity. So that means she's here on the planet to bring stability to humanity in a very compassionate and, let's use the second word because this is a nickname, assertive manner. So if she goes with the name Dion, then that simply means that her mission in life is to establish stability in humanity by using compassion and being assertive. So if she doesn't do that, that means it's very easy for trauma and drama to distract her and bond with her and keep her trapped in a negative habit pattern. So everybody that's in a negative habit pattern, you're not being true to your name. So you're not operating in your lane. So it's easy for you to experience toxic shame. So I can easily manipulate you. So whether it's, somebody in a skirt, whether it's, Joe Fauci, whether it's Donald Trump, it doesn't matter. It's so easy because you cannot be. This is the only way. I've been doing this for 20 years. And the other than my family members, especially some of the kids that live with me, I had one. I'll tell you about the one girl that she lives in Las Vegas right now. That's like I said, she's a dad, so she has 3 kids, doing very well. She's a little girl that I think when she was 8, the state said that she was unredeemable. They said that she had too many mental problems. She was on like 25 drugs, and I got her. And now she's a functioning adult, was married. Last time I checked, it didn't work. The other girl I was telling you guys who got gang raped while she was active duty military, and by supposedly, she blacked out anywhere from 15 to 30 guys. And I was telling her she was the one that was 11, had severe migraine headaches, that had a special card that she could go to. They would administer morphine to stop her because of, in addition to the circumstances in her life that she had. And she's on LinkedIn, and I was texting her back and forth, and it's amazing. She's doing great. What I did to get, and I can keep going on all the different case studies that I've done over the years to help people with severe mental issues, like myself, who have created a life of circumstances like I did and could not function in society like I couldn't. And I was able to break away from all of my dopamine dumping, from my trauma bonding, from my drama that I had been bonded to because I retrained my brain to attach to my name so I would no longer experience toxic shame and or emotional drain. So I have twice the amount of energy that anybody that I've met that's even near my age. I haven't met anybody my age that do what I do. Not even close. But how does it happen? By doing what I just said. So if Sister, again, Cheryl, we just broke down her name. Sherly. Sherryl, I'm sorry, again, Sister Diane, so we broke down her nickname. Dion. Now, remember what we said at the beginning of the show. Nobody that I have ever talked to on this planet, other than people in secret society, know what I know about how shape create function. So even though I'm telling you about your name, you have no frame of reference. You have no idea that this is more powerful than, like Dracula was afraid of the symbol of the cross. Not because it was a cross, but because of the shape. So when you see a logo, you don't know what it does to your brain. So when you see the golden arches at McDonald's, we have no frame of reference because none of us was raised in an esoteric or an occult environment that taught us how shape-shifting changes subatomic particles. So by shifting, That's why in the Bible there were certain characters like Saul, name was changed. Abram, God said, I'm going to make you the father of many nations. He changed his name from Abram to Abraham. And so when you change a person's name, you change a person's destiny. So Sister Diane Coleman's real destiny is she is let's look at another word, because we got the word stable. Now remember, the word that resonates with you, every word has a subatomic what's the word I'm looking for, Big G? Expression that is not on the internet. So I always go with that. So if I was to go with the subatomic expression that's usually not expressed, the D means the number 4. The number 4 is a very interesting word because it means manual skill. So if you met Sister Diane, and I know that I don't know Sister Diane as well as some of the other clients because I've met her in person. I've never seen an image. I think that's our one image of you, right, Sister Diane, when she was like in high school. And she's not in high school anymore. So if I can see a picture, then I can verify what I already know. But the number 4 for the letter for D-I-A-N-E. So that simply means that Sister Diane is exactly what she is right now. She has no pictures, to my knowledge, on no social media. Why? Like, she's not really interested in that. Like, my wife D, she's not really on Instagram. None of the stuff that I do, she is like, I'm not interested in it. She'd rather be outside in her garden. That's the 4. So 4s are always basic. You won't find no 4s in Hollywood. You won't find a 4 glammed up at the red carpet at the Indies. You won't see a 4 driving a $100,000 car. The wife needs to go to the store. The kids had both of the other cars. The other car was flat. And I said, well, she just drive my car. She said, shit, I ain't driving that car. I said, I wouldn't be caught driving a $100,000 car. She's a 4. 4s, they don't like flashy shit. So basic, and then 9, another word for 9 other than humanity is royalty. Another word for the number 1, so remember her nickname is D-I-O-N, but her real name is D-I-A-N. So the O is a 6, but the A is a 1. So we got a basic royal leader or individual. If you know anything about Sister Diane, this is spot on. And then we got 2 5s. And so the first word for 5 is always the word, that's the root word that people really don't associate with the 5. Is 5s are very assertive. And then the next word is freedom. So if Sister Diane wants to ensure that nobody can ever gaslight her, love bomb her, she can never be conned, tricked. She would never, no matter what happened in her past, she can remove all toxic shame and all energy embedding in every memory in her brain. The neurons in her cell would disconnect because this is more powerful. So this is stored in what is called, again, the part of the brain that looks like a seahorse is called the Ammon, A-M-M-O-N. And so what this does, when you look at Ammon's horn, you look at the function inside of the human brain, it's really called the CA1, the CA2, and the CA3. This area of the brain is responsible for receiving and processing all of the information that arrives from other parts of the brain. So this part of the brain prevents trauma environment from you interpreting it. You can't even, like, when bad shit happens to me, I have to force myself to get, like, angry. The only way I can respond to any type of to any emotion is because I have to force myself to get worked up by reading it over and over again to detach from my name. So the hippocampus, which is Amon's horn, which is called what it's really called, it's called the hippocampi, C-A-M-P-I. It looks like a seahorse inside of the brain. Or some people say it looks like two ram's horns. If you go the entire Amon's horn, but if you go inside of it, there is something called some dendrites in there, kind of like in the brain. And what this does is, again, it functions along with the amygdala and the hypothalamus when it comes to what? Regulating how you respond to quote unquote trauma and drama. So when you are attached to the symbols, it creates a new function. So you function like this. So in other words, it's an automatic expression of the soul because it's written inside of your DNA. So all you're doing is you are now, like in the movie Limitless, you're turning on whole brain thinking. So now there's no room for me to download drama into your brain. There's no space. It's like you go to a hotel, all the rooms are booked. Okay, you can't stay there. So I'm a gaslight you. But the words I'm saying to you, they can't get into the hippocampus. The hippocampus is full. So it's like the hotel room is full, so drama, negative habit patterns, the shit can't live there. If you bond with your name, you cannot experience toxic change. You cannot experience emotional drain. So that's why my energy level is always high. My energy level is always high because I bonded with my name. Remember, in order to stop, you got to start. So if you want to stop poverty, you got to start prosperity. So then the question is, how do you start being prosperous? Well, the brain don't give a fuck about what you think as far as if it's not repeated and if it's not part of your name. You got to force feed it with repetition and dopamine dumping. So I got this dude. This is the only reason why your diet, why the movies, why the music is kill, bitches and hoes. I gotta amp your ass up because I gotta override your natural. Everybody has a natural dopamine baseline. So I gotta get you above that and hooked on that. So what I give you? Fast food. What I give you? Drugs, alcohol. What I give you? Porn. I gotta change your biological clock. Because you are a spirit. You got possession of a soul. And you manifest through the body. So if I can fuck up the body, I can fuck up your soul. If I fuck up your soul, I can detach you from your spirit and I can attach you to trauma. So everybody is attached to the prison of this planet. So now you're a prisoner of this planet because you hooked on the dopamine. We hooked on serotonin, melatonin. All the feel-good chemicals of the brain is released from outside of the brain. Your name releases chemicals inside of the brain. So there's a war going on between whether you are bonded to external shit or internal. Do you need external stimulation? Or can you live in your fucking head? The average Negro can't live in his head. He needs external stimulation, 24/7, 365. You can't turn off your TV, turn your phone off, sit in a dark room, take out a pen and paper, just sit there for hours. Why? Because we're not attached to the brain. Through the name. So the only way to retrain the brain is to attach to the name. If you attach to the name, you cannot experience toxic shame. You cannot experience trauma bonding, emotional bonding. All that shit goes away. Why? Because there is a stronger imprint. So you already been energy imprinted. There's an imprint on your soul. Right now, your mind, your will, your emotions, your imagination, intellect. If I say the right buzzword, bam, I'm going to activate you and get pissed the fuck off. And you can say, man, Doctor talking that crazy shit again. I'm going to hang up. That's the only reason why, like I said, I be forcing myself to drop as many F-bombs as possible. Why? Because the F-bombs used to bother the fuck out of me. I couldn't listen to nobody. That's why I couldn't listen to Dan P. I could listen to my boy Billy Jean. Hell, I could barely talk to my own son. BJ, man, that little knucklehead, man, as soon as he got 18, it's like he went to school of F-bombs. Every time I talk to you, there was so, man, fucking crazy, fucking. I'm like, BJ, I was like, you crazy, bro? Quit fucking talking to me like that, man. So then I would get pissed off. Then I ask myself, why does the word fuck bother me so much? Religion. I said, oh shit, I gotta start saying fuck. Why? I gotta get rid of religion. Because that's the only way that's stopping me from making my money. All those feelings are money blocks. Every fucking feeling you have that is not magnanimous stops your money flow. Because money is the highest vibration on the fucking planet. And so anytime something makes you feel, somebody walk past you, they mean mug you, that feeling, that's money. See, this is why I stopped doing all that emotional shit. Why? When I realized this shit was costing me money, man, I was telling my daughter Sade this the other day. I said, man, you better stop playing around. Why do you think now you're born in October? October is a month of emotional balance. If you can't balance your emotions, you will be fucking broke your entire fucking life. Why? Because it's easy to gaslight your ass. You walk around with your emotions on your shoulders. I just walk by and knock it off. Somebody look at you wrong, you ready to fight. Let's go to the hood. Man, niggas will fight over wearing a red t-shirt. Everybody got on, you a Crip, you a Blood. Are you serious? That's the stupidest shit I've heard about. We're still doing that. Man, we some dumb mother. Okay, not for another time. So, Sister Diane has to be true to herself. So, what if Sister Diane can hook up with some dude that's flashy and dashy? Well, she's going to have problems. Why? Sister Diane is what is called basic. Now, I'm using the word basic, but you should be really asking me, Doc, what does that word mean? Because what you thinking is like basic, like no, nah, that's not what it means. The word basic really means manual skills. So you got to define the root meaning of each one of these fucking words to get your fucking power. Otherwise, you're going to be fucking broke. That's all I do every day. I stick to my lane. It means manual, it means the ability to use and coordinate in a way that people can grasp and manipulate and demonstrate. That's a fucking power that everybody needs. So Sister Diane has something that other people, just because we think about manual dexterity, we think about hands. We talk spirit. So everything I'm telling you ain't got shit to do with 3D. So the biggest mistake everybody makes is the words I'm saying, they are spirit and they are life. Because we already know, because we looked this shit up in Psalms 119, 130, the interest of thy word gives life. It gives understanding to the simple. So if you want to get understanding, shit, you need words. That's why women are way more fucking powerful than men. Why? Because y'all got way more words than men, which means you got way more thoughts than men, which means you got way more money than men. But you got conned by men and you're fucking being quiet. Ladies, you should be fucking talking as much as I do. You should be talking every day, all day. Why? That's money. You know the highest paid people are people who can fucking communicate? So I'm an expert. I can communicate with a fucking monkey. If he paying me. If he ain't paying me, I ain't talking. Your ability to speak, only God can do this. If you walk around and act like, not you personally, of course, but you know, other people we know. Boo-boo, you ain't no fucking deaf mute. Talk, man. Y'all could be doing freaking 10 videos a day. Y'all seen a video with a guy calls it 100, it's on TikTok. It's crazy. A study done by Harvard, again. 100 days. Now remember, I got my 21 days, 63 days, all it takes me. Well, he goes around and he has said, hey, if you do this for 1 hour, which is what? Post the same shit every day for 1 hour. But you got to post it in a different way. Remember? What we're doing on October the 3rd, I'm going to teach you the same thing. So now there's a study out. It's crazy, man. I've been finding all of these studies. Because the big deal was like, hey, Negroes need proof. They bad. They just like you. Ain't nobody going to believe shit until you slap them in the head with some fucking proof. So I love studies. That's proven by Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, and Brown, and all these historically black colleges. Because I know y'all Negroes, y'all like some, HBCUs. Going on out there enjoying that Greek fraternity and put a Greek burn. How does a nigga gonna be walking around with a Greek burn on his body? A Greek brand. That part of Alpha Beta. Come on, man. Does that shit, like, can we think? I don't give a fuck if everybody else is doing it. If you do average shit, you would be an average person. So you gotta do above average shit. What is that? If everybody else is joining the Greek fraternity, don't do it. You should be the only one. You should be the lone fucking ranger. I mean, not you personally, but people So you gotta retrain your brain to attach to your name. Why? No two people, even if we got the exact same name, we ain't got the exact same place of birth. And if we do got the exact same place of birth, we ain't got the same fucking blood type. So you are an individual expression of source code on Earth. This is some deep kimchi. Next is Sister. Let's see who got next. Sister, the great Dr. Span. I love doing Dr. Span's numbers in her name. I've known Dr. Span for a long time, and her hubby, Dr. Jerome. These are some two, excuse me, high vibrational Negroes. But, like me, and we kind of, I think we're around the same age, right? Dr. Span? I think me, you, and my boy, Dr. Jerome. So, and Sister Veronica, we more old school. So, we really got fucked. Because the young, at least with the young people, now, they really don't give a fuck. Young people, it's crazy. I got talking to the Bondng star, kind of had a first date, but she said it wasn't a date. So you meet a guy, y'all met online, he likes you, you like him, but it's not a date. No, it's going out. So they went to a basketball game. So she met the guy, they talked, blah, blah, came back. I said, okay, how'd it go? She said, oh, we talked, And it's crazy because they redefined it now. So all of the definitions that we had, like when we grew up, it was called courting. Y'all remember that? Oh, this is old. I'm really dating myself. Y'all youngsters don't know nothing about it. My grandma said, boy, who you courting? I said, what? Think about what you're talking about. So when I talked to Dr. Span, and her name means Mama Span. Really, they call her Mama Span. Right, Dr. Span? And her and Dr. Jerome is doing great. They've been doing great. When I met them, they're still doing great. But they should be doing greater, just like me. So I asked, what's limiting my greatness and Dr. Span's greatness? Religion. We both suffer from weaponized caring. So all people, like Sister Veronica Smith, same thing. Sister Veronica Smith she's too nice. You look at her images, look at her videos. I don't think Sister Veronica Smith, when was the last time you said a curse word? If I saw Sister Veronica Smith curse, I'd probably pass her. Fuck out. Why? Look at her energy. She's a peaceful, it's called a peaceful phlegmatic. My brother Glenn is like that. You have to hit that nigga in the head with a 2x4 to get him pissed off. Now, once he gets pissed off, though, you don't want to be nowhere around. Because the nigga was like the Incredible Hulk. You start tearing up shit. Well, that's what Dr. Span is. I can't imagine seeing Dr. Span. I've never seen Dr. Span angry. I've never seen her upset. I've never seen her frustrated. Now, I know she's been all of those things, but she hides it very well. So, Dr. Span, you need to cut loose. Like, this is what I'm doing right now. So, I'm forcing myself to cut loose, Dr. Span. That's why I be saying, fuck, every day. I just walk around, and the wife be looking at me like, are you fucking crazy? Now she cursing. It's funny. Because then when her parents come around, they pass us, so we got to go back to, Ebenezer Baptist. So, Dr. Span, her first name is Arlene. So, the A is a 1. The aura, as we say down here in Texas, is a 9. The L is a 3. The E is a 5. The letter N is 5. And the letter E again is 5. So, woo-wee. This is how the devil got Dr. Span. So Dr. Span, the only way out is you got to start dropping some F-bombs. So Veronica, we got to do your name next to Veronica. You in the same boat. Who else in that boat? So the Diane, you in that boat too. All of us old fogies, even though we young, right? We all younger. So 60 is the new 30. Y'all better get rid of it. Y'all better get on board. Get on board. 60 is the new 30. Stop playing. So now that we're 30 and older, the number 1 means, everybody knows 1 means independent leader. So we know that Dr. Span's a leader. Everybody knows that's what they call her, Mama Span. Everybody in Dr. Span, I remember I went and did a seminar in Dr. Span's hood. And it was pretty much all our family members that was there. When I got there, that's still the best organized seminar I ever did, Dr. Span. Man, she had folders, she had freaking name tags, she had shit cut out, tables were set up. It was so professional. It's like I couldn't have hired a freaking seminar organizer to put on a seminar. And it was just like, I keep all my stuff like mom and pop on purpose because I'm for the underdog. So a Negro ain't gonna come to no red carpet and everybody dressed up, with freaking, Skittle suits on and everybody fucking pulling up in, Bentleys and Bugattis. If you from the hood, yeah, you're gonna be like, oh man, dog shit, we can't go up in there, man. They're gonna be looking at us funny. So I do basic shit on purpose to attract people like me. So Dr. Span is a leader of 9 other royalties. So Dr. Span is the leader of leaders. And she leads, I'm going to use the word royalty, let's use the word, angels, but they don't know they're angels. So she's like an angelic leader. The 3, again, always stands for creativity. And then she has 3 5s. Now, that means the first 5, which is the thing that Dr. Span has to work on the most, and that is drop some fucking F-bombs. Dr. Span, you gotta walk in there and own the shit. You gotta be very fucking assertive. That's the first 5. Because if she's very assertive, the next number 5 really means unlimited talent. Or on the internet it says unending. So we'll go with that. Unending. That means Dr. Span, and if anybody knows Dr. Span, that's what they call a Mama Span. I don't know, Dr. Span, shit, is there anything you can't do? Dr. Jerome, you know it better than anybody. Shit, I don't know anything that she can't do. So Dr. Span is multi-talented. That's the second 5 meaning. But then we got a third 5. We know what that means. For me, 5 is always freedom. Like my boy in Braveheart, he yelled out freedom right before he exits the stage. Freedom. So I already know what Dr. Span should do tomorrow. And if you do this for the next 90 days, Dr. Span, you probably won't have to work again. Other than just padding your coffers. That means your pocket. Why? Because right now, there is a movement, especially with black women, of, I don't need a man. I got my degree. I got my own money. So fuck you. And I was talking with my bonus daughter, Janaya, and she's buying into that. And I was telling her, like men, like alpha men, that energy, boo-boo, you're going to be single. Now, granted, you got your degree, you got your money, and so, yeah, you can go get your shit soon. You got your dog, you can drive around in your Bentley, but guess what? You will be single. Do you know how many educated young black women I know that's single? They can't buy a man. Why? Their energy. What does their energy say to me? Because remember, the energy arrives before you. That energy is confrontational. Now, every black man, I can't speak for no other race. Every black man, we don't do confrontation with women. Now we'll fight a Negro quick. We'll fight another nigga in a minute. But Ladies, we're not really interested in busting you upside the head. I used to tell my sister Linda this all the time. So Linda, like, we had to come back, and I was like, children, how come every dude you got with is one upside your head? Now, if you watch my sister Linda's show in the morning on Facebook, she's talking about Jesus. But remember what I told you guys to do? Do a video of you doing, like Sister Addie did a video. And if you just listen to the audio and don't look at the video, it almost sounded like Sister Addie was about to cry. And then it almost sounded like she's about ready to burn some shit up. So it went from anger to her voice. But then turn off the audio and then look at her mannerisms, look at her face. Because she was expressing something that was very deep, very emotional, and very passionate. So if you turn off the voice and you just look at her face and get her visual image and separate it from her vocal image, you got two images. So men be like, I don't know, dog. And most, it's kind of like, what's that girl, that crazy light-skinned chick that's married to the African dude? Bianca, you know who she is. What's her name? Lisa Ray. Lisa Ray crazy as fuck. You look at her, you look at her eyes. The other one, what's up? Stacey Dash, crazy as fuck. How come all the pretty girls are crazy? Because they've never looked at their vocal image and their visual image. So the reason I bring that up is because Dr. Span has the opposite, because her energy is not aggressive. Neither is her voice isn't aggressive, and her image is not aggressive, but she got 5 numbers that says, I will fuck you up. But when I see Dr. Span, I don't pick up that energy, Dr. Span. I don't get that from you, Dr. Span. And I'm pretty good at energy. I can read energy off fucking Mars. So what does Dr. Span got to do? Well, she got to be true to herself, or, now I know what happened to Dr. Span, that didn't happen to me. We was raised in a church, and we were taught to be respectful. Ladies, you sit in the back, shut the fuck up, don't say nothing until the Reverend Dr. Bishop come by there and tap you, accidentally bump your titties. That means he want to hit it. Meet him after church. Hey, I gotta leave y'all Christians alone though, man. What's my boy, what's his name? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna keep it moving. So Dr. Span is a leader of royalty into the creative, assertive freedom, or I'm going to use the word spiritual freedom or spiritual evangelism. So it's crazy because Dr. Ben, you are really a leader of spiritual royalty, but the only way you can lead them out of their bondage is you got to be very free. You got to be very creative. So you are a 193555. Why did God give you 5 doses of freedom? Because he already knew you was going to be raised at an age, like back in our generation, like the kids nowadays. Man, kids say, I had a young dude tell me, man, he said, straight up, hey, man, give a fuck how old you are. I don't respect you because of your age. I told young buck I will fuck you up. So guess what he did? He walked the fuck off. He wasn't stupid. But I like young dudes. Like these young fools, they don't give a fuck how old you are. Y'all seen the knockout game on World Star Hip Hop? They walk around knocking out young old dudes. They don't give a, they have no respect for old people. So if you run up on me, bro, you better be able to see I'm packing. So Dr. Van, you gotta be the same way. In order for you to do what? Break the bond with trauma and drama that keep us. Remember, this is your money. Now, this is what got my attention. I don't know about y'all. Now, I like to play around, joke around, have fun, but when you start fucking with my money, come on, bro. And remember, I came from Bondng, Texas, Forsyth, Texas. 3-room house, no running water, no electricity. You think I'm fucking going back? Man, I put my hands on somebody's throat first. So I ain't going back to Egypt. Y'all can go back. I mean, not you personally, but, you know, people know. Next up, let me do my boy, J Money. I've been telling J Money for a long time. J Money's my boy though. So first of all, the Negro's name is Jasper. What the? I can't think. J Money, what was your mom and daddy thinking, bro? It's like I met my boy in Atlanta, and his name was Diamond. I was like, man, I would have cursed my mom and dad out. Fuck y'all. I like, what the fuck was y'all thinking gonna name me Diamond? I couldn't even call him that. I like, man, no disrespect. And he's a nice dude too. I met him at the seminar in Atlanta. And I asked him like 3 times. I'm like, hold up, that's your nickname, right? He's like, no, man. I did a Dear Canoe report. I said, there's no way on earth that somebody named you Diamond. So the first time I met Jay Money, that's why I call him Jay Money. Now, his real nickname is, Sam. What do you call Jay Money? What you go by, man? Or your stage name? I forgot. It's J something. It's not Jay Money. So to my knowledge, I'm the only person that calls him Jay Money. But the reason I call him Jay Money, now remember what we said at the beginning of the show. You cannot stop your negative habit pattern. The trauma and the drama that you bonded with, you can't unbond with it. You gotta establish a stronger bond with something else. Now, right now you got a stronger bond with Jesus. So you pray in the name of Jesus, so your power goes to Jesus. Now, since Jesus ain't here, I don't think he needs it. So I'm gonna let y'all in on a secret. I pray in the name of Willie. Now, I don't recommend y'all do it because then y'all gonna give me your power. So whenever I want something done, if a problem happens, I say, Willie, what the fuck we gonna do today, bro? We gotta figure the fuck out. And so guess what? Bam! I immediately get a download. Why? I just activated my superpower. Oh yeah, that's right. His nickname is the Honorable J. There we go. The Honorable J. I like that, man. Like this nigga like he's a judge or something. Hey, money. Come on, dog. Sit down somewhere. Nah, but actually, that's in his numbers. Law enforcement. So the letter J, now the letter J is a recent invention. It's new to the family. It's only been around like 500 years. But J is a 1. Now, come to game now. So if J Money want to have unlimited money, she got to do this. The letter J is the number 1. The letter A is the number 1. The letter S, which is the most powerful number out of all of the numbers, because it's the number for sine waves, it's the number for the snake. Now remember, before Christianity, snakes were like angels. They were benevolent. So they conned y'all. I don't want, So, I mean, this shit is crazy. So the snake has always been associated with wisdom and power. And then your boy Constantine, he made everything that was good evil. And everything that was evil good. So all y'all Christians, do y'all research. I'm just saying. You might want to do some research. So the letter S, what y'all think it is? Number 1. So JAS, if you go and look up the chart for numerology, in a straight line, we got these numbers. AJS, BKT, CLU, DMV. Anybody with a DMV? That's number 4. 5, ENW. Now, I'm going to break that shit down, but that's going to cost you some money. The number 6, that's me. FOX. Come on, preacher. Come on. 6 means FOX. Flies a fox. How the fuck y'all think I know what I know? Let's say for another time. 7, GPY. Kind of GPS. 8, HQZ. 9 only has 2 letters. IR. Everybody heard the IRS? Let's say for another time. So J Money is J is 1, A is a 1, S is a 1. The letter P is a 7. The letter E, y'all know what the letter E is already. We have a bunch of E's. Is a 5. The letter R is a 9. Now, also, which I didn't mention, when we do the numbers, how many vowels and how many consonants you got determines whether you are a female or a male spirit. Damn, I shouldn't have told you that either. That's money right there. That determines whether or not, like, that's why the whole gay thing comes from. There are some men who have a feminine energy given to them by God because they need it for their purpose. But y'all walk around listening to the dominant culture and you got those skinny jeans and killing all your sperm cells. That's something from the top. So J Money is a 111759. So the first one means the Negro is an individual. That means he's hard-headed. That means which is good. Why? Because he's a leader. So the thing about the number one that nobody talks about, verbal expression. That's what the Negro out here singing and doing the rap. Y'all seen J Money? That his last song, man. That was hey, J Money, keep doing what you're doing, bro. Just like Sister Cheryl West. Every video of Sister Cheryl West does get better and better. So the more you do it, remember the study, 100 days. If you do something for 100 days, you're an expert at it. You're good at it. Bam, you can start advertising it because it has value and it changes lives. So guess what? That's money. But guess what happened? After about 30 days, 40 days, niggas get tired. Say, Doc, this shit ain't working, man. Fuck it. I'm going back to TD Jakes. Okay. So J Money is an independent leader of verbal expression, but the number 7 is always tripping me up because that's the number of analytical, but really it's what is called sympathy. That's what's called the SYM path. So his knowledge comes from his simple path. But the SIM path is the path of least resistance. So the number 7 means intellect, but the intellect comes from sympathy, not empathy. The number 5, again, since we already got the word assertive because we got verbal expression, so we got the word freedom. And 9, we can use the word humanity or royalty. So the first thing J Money he's an individual, he got that down. He's a leader, got that down. Verbal expression, got that down. So the first 3 numbers, he's been doing that since he joined the life management system 5 years ago. The number 7, the 4th piece that allows him to detach from trauma and drama, is he has to be more intellectual, but his intellect comes from his sympathy. So you got to be more sympathetic. Now remember, empathy and sympathy, they get confused a lot. So the sympathetic nervous system is what we talked about. So J Money, your job is to, when you sing and you doing your vocal expression, you got to activate people's sympathetic nervous system. Now, the sympathetic nervous system is a network of nerves that helps the body activate its fight or flight response. So J Money is interesting because he came out with his first song was, I want to make love with the lights on. Right, J Money? And it's interesting that's how he chose his verbal expression. Because what does it do? Bam. So J Money, his expression is like Luther Vandross, Teddy P, Gerald Levert. He got to be able, to get to sing and express himself in a way to get women to basically throw their panties on the stage. That just simply means remove stress, because everybody's stressed the fuck out. So when you tap into that aspect of your verbal expression, when your verbal expression is done using the sympath or the sympathetic nervous system, which is the sympathetic nervous system, SNC, that activates freedom. It makes people feel free, that they can do nine, be royalty. So Jasper, which is his name, is actually one of the stones that's on the breastplate of righteousness, which is a communication device to God in the Old Testament. So the breastplate, remember the priest wore a breastplate that had 12 stones on it. Those stones are just like the numbers on your cell phone. It was a communication device. So Jasper simply means God's communication device. So Day Money is here to help people release stress. If you know anything about Day Money, he's a cool cat, that ain't about, drama and all that stuff. He can go there just like anybody else, but he's just like me. That explains our connection. Our connection is based upon the fact that me and him, we both from the same school of thought, which is, hey, if you good, I'm good. But if you got a problem, I got a problem. So as long as we ain't got no problem, shit, we can hang. So it's this ability now to monetize that. So that means he can't join a group because he's an individual. He can't be a leader. He can't be a follower because he's a leader. That's why he joins and drops out, joins and drops out. So I already know that. So I know he ain't going to be sitting there following me because he got his own group. He's doing his own thing. But when he do tap in, gets some knowledge, then he go back out there and verbally express it in a sympathetic manner to help people be free and royalty. That's his gig. So as long as he operates or retrains his brain to attach to his name, he cannot experience toxic shame or emotional drain. He always have energy. Now all you gotta do is just monetize it. And the best way to monetize it is what he's doing right now. Because he's able to connect with people on a level using his voice. And the fact that he can, music, what do they say about music? Music soothes the soul. Remember King Saul that was being troubled by demons? And they brought in, who was that? I think it was King David, if I remember my story from the Old Testament. And he played his harp, and it ran them demons off. It soothed his soul. I don't think it was King David. Damn, who was it? One of y'all biblical scholars. I know Sister Veronica, you probably know. I know it was Saul. He was being troubled by demons. And a boy came in. It was a young king. I think it was David. Anywho, y'all know the story. Let's see. Next up, we got is Sister Colette. So I've known Sister Colette for a while too. Colette J Money. And I told Sister Colette this. And who was it David? Oh, okay, King David. So okay, yeah. So King David played the harp and the music. So music soothes the soul. So when I first met J Money, remember J Money he made good money. He had his own truck. And I told you guys the story last night. And he always had money, but he's never had a connection with his expression. So now he's able to connect or to express himself confidently because he's in the right lane. And if he continues to choose to express it, he got to really, really, really go hard. Simply means sell out. Put all his eggs into this basket because you're retraining your brain to attach to your name. Bam. When you do that, you cannot experience what we call toxic shame or any of the trauma bonding that takes place. So no matter what happened to you in the past, it could be, and we've all been through a lot of negative stuff, right? We've all had things that have happened to us. So the fastest, the easy, I can say easy, because it's really not easy. But the best way by which to detach or override or place another pattern on top of that pattern that has a stronger energy imprint. So we starve that pattern and we feed the new pattern. Right? Starve your fear, feed your faith. All right, so last but not least, we got Sister Colette. So I've known Sister Colette for a while. And like everybody, as soon as I mentioned Colette, said the same thing. Like, there's no way this sister should be, and she was already in a great place, but, you know, let's just say she wasn't valued. Like most women. Most women are usually with a guy that really don't see their worth and value. Because when you marry somebody, you know, after a while you just get common. And we kind of forget that, damn, behind every great man is a greater woman. Because women have more thoughts than men. That's why they have more words than men. So I used to always call it Queen Creator. Well, before even doing the numbers into my first met her. And the letter C is number 3. The letter O in her name is number 6. Then we got the letter L, number 3. We got the letter E, that's the number 5. And then we got the letter T, and the T's in her name twice. So we got the number 2 and the number T, the number T. The number 2 twice, and then we got the number 5 again. And again, 5 represents freedom. So the thing that's amazing with breaking down the emanations, which is what we're doing, and an emanation is nothing but an energy, it's like a vortex. So this energy vortex, this frequency, this vibration, is just you are sending it out knowingly or unknowingly every day. So that means that the first thing about Sister Colette is anybody that knows her, this is one of the most creative sisters that I know. I don't know how many different things that she's done in her lifetime, but from businesses to, you know, baking, cooking, to sewing, oh man, you name it, she's done. And she does everything at a very high level. So this creative, and the number 6, we think it means compassion, but 6 really means love of beauty. Remember, love of love or details. So if you know anything about Sister Colette, if she's in it, the details, this ability to pay attention to details. And then she has the number 3 again. So we already got the word creative. The next frequency for the number 3 that nobody really talks about is what is called artistic imagination or artistic expression. So let's go with artistic imagination. So the next 3 is artistic imagination. We already know the number 5 is always associated at the lowest, the root number of the 5 is always freedom. You could also put the word assertive in there as well. So since we got 2 5s, we're going to use the word freedom. And then we got the number 2 twice. And we know the number 2 always means intuition, psychic ability, but the word I like is knowing without study. You just have what is called intuition or being intuitive, but knowing without study is a more detailed word for the number 2. And so both 2s are expressed in that long phrase, knowing blank without studying blank. The shit just like she gets spiritual downloads, which is another way of saying knowing without studying, because that's what it is. So when you know shit, you just got it in your gut. You just feel it in your bones. But everybody that do that, like Sister Addie's like that. Everybody that do that, guess what? They don't trust their gut. And usually they connected with a family member, a business partner, a loved one that doesn't validate and support or create the environment to harness, at least fucking acknowledge that power. And that happened like Dr. Spain, Sister Vanessa Smith, Sister Diane Coleman, Sister Addie. We talk about when you was a child, stand there with me. I was seen I tell you guys, the hardest thing for me was getting over or just living with the fact my father never saw me play football. And I played football for fucking 20 years. My father never put his arms around me and said, son, I love you, or I'm proud of you. That lack of acknowledgement when you are a Jew is deep. That's a bond, a drama bond that has to be overwritten. Because remember, we're not trying to remove it. Because it actually, you might need it as a way of teaching. So what you do, we put a stronger energy imprint over it. So this is Sister Carlette's energy imprint. That when she uses this moving forward, the last number we said is a number 5 again. So we said freedom for the first 5. So the last word, like I was telling Dr. Span, same thing with Sister Addie, Sister Diane, you gotta be more expressive. In other words, you know, ladies, y'all need to start dropping more F-bombs like me. You need to add the word fucking to your vocabulary. Not because you want to use it. Because your spirit needs to hear it. You need to override that spirit, that Christian disposition that is hidden in your DNA that says that's not ladylike. You should wear more short dresses. You should, you know, wear low-cutting blouses. You should do shit that violates your own personal standards. Why? Because that's your money block. Your money is being blocked because you're too fucking nice. You're not aggressive. You're not assertive enough. Now, let me clarify that. Because then, you know, I had one sister that, I'm not going to say her name, but, I see her on Instagram shaking her ass, and she's basically doing soft porn. So, if you got the attributes, I'm not saying that you should not utilize them. I'm just saying make sure you follow up with product. Like I told her, like, what's your product? She said, well, I'm working on it. Well, the pool man is going to only carry you for so long. Your titties ain't going to be all perky forever. So that's not what I mean by the word assertiveness. So the word assertive, it means showing confidence. So what I mean by being assertive, and remember where confidence comes from, my 7 C's, which we talk about all the time. Do you know that confidence means what it really means to me? It means fucking respecting yourself. That's what confidence means. And that's what assertive means. Assertive means, I ain't gonna let no one disrespect me. I don't give a fuck who it is. It could be your mama, your daddy, your husband. It could be your wife, your children. Man, I'll stop this. Man, I'm telling you. Me and my son BJ, we used to get into it a lot. Because that little fool, he's just like me. And I'll tell him, I'm the daddy, bro. And you go home and do that shit to your kids. But don't come to my house with that shit. Drunk or not, get the fuck up out of here talking crazy. I will fucking throat punch you, bro. To this day, still the same. I'm 120, still talking shit. As long as my finger works, click, 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 and I can load a magazine. What's the point? Especially for all of the ladies, because we have a group of highly respectable, every woman on this call. I can look at all of the names of every woman, every woman. Now, me too. Everybody on this call, because we live in, the Bible says the violent, they take it by force. The Bible says the ruthless men retain wealth. So, Sister Carlette's formula for overriding and retraining her brain to attach to her name so that way she can stay in her lane and doesn't experience any more toxic shame or emotional drain. That means nobody can put it on side of her and say, girl, you know that dress kind of too short, or you know that you ain't going to feel shit because you're going to be immersed in your brain. Your brain is totally, so in other words, they can't make a deposit in the brain because all of the real estate in your brain, every neuron in your brain is turned on, is on fucking 10. So somebody come in, they're on level 3. And they're like, it's like, think, they can't get in your head. Dudes gonna come and they're gonna be like, hey baby, you gonna be like, what? You can't even, shit doesn't even register. Like they speaking a whole another language. They're gonna just walk the fuck away. Because when you understand your name, you literally activate the crystals in the brain. When you understand your name, you literally activate the magnetites and the crystals in the brain. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about which I didn't even know about the magnetites. I just thought about the crystals, but the pineal gland vibrates. When you get to this level, not only the DNA, not only the blood, not only the brain, your pineal gland, it starts to vibrate. And it connects you to a whole other frequency source. So, Sister Carlette, you are a creative, detail-loving, artistic, freedom fighter that has knowledge or intuition that allows you to be assertive. So as long as you listen to your gut, you will know when to turn your assert. And you're already doing this. The last time we talked, I was like, damn. Because, as you know, from where you were when we met to where you are now, damn, it's like a 360-degree turnaround. So you're already doing it. This is confirmation for you to continue to use this creative awareness of the little details that are very artistic and allows for a level of freedom that is not expressed. So the way that you express freedom, like the details in a dress, the details of a cake, so that makes other people free to see your level of quality. Because guess what? That's what love is. Love is the awareness of really, really small details, not only in other people, not only in yourself, but also in what you do. So it is this love of the details that brings about the freedom. And it's that freedom to allow you to get the spiritual download that allows you to be assertive. So your assertiveness comes from the download that you get from God whenever you feel financially free, physically free, spiritually free. So if I'm the bad guy, I'll make sure that your ass will never feel free. That's why they even keep your ass chained up and locked up. And like when I first met you, that's the first thing I said. Like, you are the greatest, and you even said it. It's like God, like you've been hitting for 20 years. And so now, bam, it's time to hit the scene. Because your artistic imagination, your creative details, that's what allows you, because everything that I've told everybody on this call, that's your meal ticket. In other words, when we talk about the 3 M's, you take your message. Now, what I gave you is your model that you give in exchange for money. If you don't have a model, a step-by-step system, which is what we're talking about on October the 3rd, is how to take this information and put it and package it. So remember, the information is free. How to package the information so that way you can present it to the marketplace. That's what the cost is for the 3rd. So, Sister Claudette, you should be advertising or getting attention. Then you should be selling by adding value your product that gives people support. So the product allows people to gain what is in your name. So it's like you're giving a piece of your name inside of your product. So your product gives me the support. So that way I feel like shit. I can be creative. I can be artistic. I can get spiritual downloads and be assertive because if I purchase your product, that's the value that you're going to add to me. And you already got my attention. So everybody on this call, that's the 3-step formula that we're going to be breaking down as far as, okay, now, how do we implement that? How do we package it? How do we put that into a step-by-step process that benefits other people more than it benefits myself? So that way when somebody sees that, they don't see me. They see God. They see perfection. And that, brothers and sisters, is how you are able to make me feel like, damn, I can do this, number one, because you gave me your step-by-step process, number two, which allows me to overcome my fear of starting, number three. So I was like, damn, the way that your name positions your lane makes me feel like I too can experience gain. So that way I get out of toxic shame and I can walk in my lane. That's the whole purpose of the name. The whole purpose of the name is to establish your lane. So that way you can do it. You can get the leads and then you can get the conversion. Because everybody, at the end of the day, all we want is to experience pleasure and remove pain. The pain, that's that trauma. That's the negative habit pattern. That's the memories that we have. So your product is going to override those negative limbs I have that we talked about inside of the amygdala, the hypothalamus, the part of the CNS, the sympathetic nervous system. So all you're doing is going in and activating my nerves so that way instead of me feeling pain, I start experiencing pleasure. The pleasure is I believe I can do it. And then with your support and with your value and with your attention, I'm able to implement your product, which is going to take me to my desired end. And that's what we're going to be breaking down more in detail because we got to get this right, especially this time of year as we roll into the holidays. Because if you can position yourself, everybody has a unique position in the marketplace. So if J Money comes out with that right song, with the right hook, with the right beat at this time, and put that shit on a CD or not a CD. What are they doing? I don't know how they're doing the music now. I guess Spotify or doing SoundCloud, and if you charging $5 for download or whatever it is, it's not about the money. It's not about the transaction, but it's about the transformation. And people are going to be impacted by your songs. What to call it? People are going to be impacted by your products, your services, your information. Dr. Span, same thing. People will be impacted by your product, by your service. Sister Diane, Sister Cheryl, everybody, we have products, plural, inside of us. It's time to allow the universe, everybody has to see how God has designed you and me by expressing our product and service, which is nothing but our name, because our name has established our lane. All right, y'all. I love you. Appreciate you. Y'all know there ain't nothing y'all can do about it. We're going to see you at the top. God bless.